Welcome to the Technopark podcast, your gateway to the world of technology, entrepreneurship, innovation, and the future of business. I'm your host, Annie Moses. On each episode, we will dive into insightful interviews with visionaries and pioneers to uncover the compelling stories behind the strategies shaping tomorrow's businesses. So fasten your seatbelts because the future starts now. Today, our guest is Mr. Sree Kumar V. He is the Center Head Tata Elxsi Limited and Secretary GTech Group of Technology Companies across Kerala. Let's listen to his insights. When did Tata Elxsi started its operation, and what were some of the key deciding factors of Tata Elxsi to set up a Trivandrum center in Technopark? And how has this location contributed to its growth and success?
Thank you for inviting me to this podcast. To talk about Tata Elxsi's initial functioning in Trivandrum. We officially started functioning in 2002. That is in and around this Technopark campus. But if you look at the system integration division of Tata Elxsi, it was functioning long before as a city office in the R&DC campus. So we would complete 25 years in 2027 inside Technopark.
That's great.
We started off in Trivandrum. The factors which affected our decision to start in Trivandrum are very many. Primarily, we looked at the presence of premier institutions in Trivandrum like ISRO's other divisions like the various divisions like VSSC, IPSC and PSLV here. Plus the presence of very good institutions here like the College of Engineering Trivandrum, the TKM which is in the vicinity, the REC in Calicut. So all put together, the availability of talent plus availability of premier research institutions. There was the Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Biotechnology here. There was the Center for Development Studies. So all put together, Trivandrum was positioned as a intellectual capital for the state, and it looked very apt for starting an R&D center in Trivandrum. So that was a primary reason why we looked at Trivandrum as a next center. The presence of Keltron, Tata Elxsi basically is an expansion. You look at Elxsi, it is the expansion of electronics and system integration, electronics into system integration. So the presence of Keltron here as a very dominant force in the electronics industry also contributed towards the decision making. As I said, we started in 2002. It was a very small team of 10 engineers. And happy to say that many of those 10 engineers are still continuing with us.
That's great.
We started off in a small space inside this park center. So when we came here looking for space, Technopark was in its initial stages, and the whatever built up space was available was already consumed by the early entrants. And to start off, Technopark was very magnanimous to offer us a small space inside the park center. So the 10 engineers along with their leader started operating here. So I would take this opportunity to thank Technopark for the initial seeding of Tata Elxsi here. We had a visionary leadership at that point of time. Mr. Ramanathan Nadarajan was our initial leader here in Trivandrum. He was with ISRO before joining Tata Elxsi. He was at a very senior position in ISRO, and he joined us as a vice president and location head for Trivandrum, Tata Elxsi. He quit his job in ISRO and joined us. Had he continued in ISRO, he would have probably become the chairman of ISRO. So senior was he when he quit. So when he joined, along with the 10 engineers initially, he had definite plans for Tata Elxsi in Trivandrum. System integration was one of our major activities nationwide those days, but Ramanathan Nadarajan thought otherwise. He said we will focus on high-end world-class technology research work, and that too specifically for two industries, one for the automotive and one for the media industry. So he defined those two business models, the business units, the transportation business unit and the media business unit. So it was a very focused, very concentrated, focused effort by Ramanathan Nadarajan that contributed to the building of these two business units inside the company. Later, other locations, including the corporate office, followed suit. And the two business units were available or present in all our centers. So that was a very welcome and positive deviation from what we were doing prior to that. So this is an opportunity where we are proud to express our gratitude towards Natarajan, who is no more. He was with Tata Elxsi for long years. He took us from 10 to close to 1,000 people here. And there was sudden demise of Mr. Natarajan. And we have renamed our center in Trivandrum as, in memory of Natarajan, as RNDC, Ramanathan Natarajan Development Center. So this is the background in which we started. And to talk about the support from Technopark, we've been extremely fortunate to be inside the park. We were in rented buildings initially, and then the park has allotted us 3 acres of land on lease, long lease, where we have our own campus, very centrally located, very strategically located. And this campus has actually proved to be our expansion heavily in Trivandrum. Another factor is the availability of very skilled talent. People who come out of all the engineering colleges in Trivandrum actually are a big factor in promoting because 99% of Tata Elxsi's population in Trivandrum are engineers, computer science and electronics engineers from leading engineering colleges in Kerala. So this has been the background in which we started and grown to now. We are now 3,300 in Trivandrum.
Okay. Technopark has seen remarkable growth over the years. How do you think the ecosystem has fostered innovation, and what role do you see yourself playing in its evolution?
Definitely, Technopark has played a major role in creating this IT ecosystem in the state. The first green IT park in the country, and providing the leadership role in creating the roadmap for growth of IT industry in the state. From our perspective, from what we experienced in Tata Elxsi from the Technopark and the authorities in the IT ecosystem of the state, I would probably put the establishment of Technopark as the major milestone in the state. What followed was Infopark and Cyberpark, taking cue from the Technopark success. A single window clearance system for companies coming here is the major achievement which Technopark has brought. It was a kind of total change, a paradigm shift from what we thought about industry in the state. We never thought industry would thrive in the state, and Technopark as a leading example has shown that it is a state which will welcome industry and ensure that industry functions seamlessly all 24/7, 365 days. Happy to state here that over the last so many years, from 2002 till now, we have not lost a single productive day here in Technopark. Being inside the park, it's been a wonderful experience. We have not lost any productivity. Rather, on any other Hartal or Bandh day, our attendance seems to be better than the normal days, thanks to the support that Technopark offers. There are certain factors which could be done better, but taking into account all the factors in the state, the political conditions, the ecosystem itself, Technopark and the IT department has been doing a marvelous job. That's evident in the manner in which industry has grown in the state. You definitely cannot compare with Bangalore or Chennai or in other states where land is available in abundance and any volume of land can be leased out for starting companies and manufacturing units. Kerala, because of its peculiar ecosystem and terrain and a lot of other factors, this is the best I think that can happen for the industry in Kerala. Now with the corridor of high-speed travel that is being created in the state from south to north, this would finally, I envisage that this will finally become the IT corridor of Kerala as a single largest corridor of IT industry anywhere in the country. So this is what I presume will happen in the coming years.
As the center head of Trivandrum DC, how do you cultivate entrepreneurial spirit and drive within your team at Tata Elxsi? And how does this culture of entrepreneurship contribute to your company's success in the competitive software service industry?
We, like any other Tata company, believe in the nourishing and nurturing of human capital. We have 2 definite programs running inside the organization, which might be running in other Tata companies also, but specifically from our standpoint, where our company is a commercial entity which has got research and development happening full time. One is the employee value proposition, EVP as we call it. This was launched very recently. It is basically to create a feeling for the employees in the organization that they are at home. They are taken care, like kids are taken care at home. It is a process of creating that homely feeling inside the organization where every employee has to contribute. Like every member in the family contributes to the overall functioning at home. Every employee gets a feeling to create or contribute back towards the overall development at home. To create a very balanced environment, to foster what you call innovation, thinking ahead of time, out of the box thinking, team working, adapting towards unknown or unreal technology situations. So all this can happen in an R&D organization. It can be a lot of uncertainties. Sometimes the initial requirement can be as small as one sentence. You will have to start from that, build the whole solution around it. So it requires a lot of team working, a lot of brainstorming, a lot of thinking out of the box. There has to be there will be situations where you are on a roadblock and you will have to travel in different routes, alternate routes to get to the solution. So a lot of technology plus creativity has to be there as a combination. So what happens at Tata Elxsi is not merely writing billions of codes and compiling them. It is a combination of where you have a combination of hardware, software, creativity is there, design elements are there. A lot of this, what you call out of the box thinking has to happen. So it's a combination of a lot of faculties to create the final solution for the industry. Because all that we create is nothing which is already there or is nothing that we can improve on which is already there. It is all new that we create for the industry. So if whatever we create for the automotive industry or for the media industry is nothing that we've heard before or experienced before. So all these kind of traits have to be there in our employees, which has to be nurtured and brought up. So that is why the employee value proposition EVP scheme was rolled out, which is going out very successfully and is becoming one of the best practices in the industry. We also have something called Innovate, where any employee in the organization can post their innovative solutions for challenges that are being posted in the portal. And it will get rewarded. It may finally end up as a new solution or a new product for which the employee gets the benefit. The patents team inside Tata Elxsi heavily contributes towards that, nurturing and nourishing this activity. So Innovate is something which has been running for many years now. Many employees have contributed towards what you call suggesting solutions or offering solutions to the challenges that are posted there. So that creates these two initiatives inside the organization creates the kind of environment for the employee to feel at home, to feel nurtured and fostered for future challenges, and to be open and be curious and ask questions and bring out this research kind of mentality inside them. So that is a deliberate attempt by the organization to ensure that all employees are creative and very innovative in their daily routine.
What are some of the major challenges Tata Elxsi has faced in its journey, and how did the company overcome them to maintain its leadership position?
Frankly, any R&D organization in niche areas like us will obviously face a lot of challenges, and we need to face them. It's not a cakewalk for companies like us to produce world-class solutions with cutting-edge technology. Technology keeps changing, and every day it's being updated across the globe. So when you come up with a technology solution, it has to be the latest, and that's a job, or that's a process which will encounter a lot of challenges. The main challenge that we faced, not only here, anywhere in the country, is the availability of talent with domain experience. Fresh talent from colleges is always available, but experienced professionals in these two sectors with IT capabilities or solution capabilities are a challenge. Even today, it's a challenge. Not only us, companies like us who actually are in this kind of niche areas will always face this challenge. And the only way we can circumvent or address this challenge is to adequately train the brilliant minds which come out of colleges. And Tata Elxsi has always been very positive towards that. We have put on our efforts, a lot of effort, money, and time in training the fresh talent that comes out of colleges. Obviously, the talent that comes out of colleges in Kerala are really brilliant, and we would like to go all out and capture the talent anywhere from the state. Traditionally, all of us in the industry would go to the best 10 or 12 colleges in the state and try to get the best out of them. But we are thinking differently now. There are bright talents at the remotest corners of the state where there are good colleges there in the private sector, and there are brilliant students who have bright ideas who can contribute. So, in the coming years, we would actually go and explore talent from all these remote corners of the state, so that we get a better representation of talent from all over the state, and we get the brightest of people from there. So it is always about training these people and getting them to these levels, along with the available experienced domain professionals also.
Innovation is at the heart of technological leadership. How does Tata Elxsi cultivate a culture of innovation and creativity among its employees to maintain its competitive edge?
Like I previously said, innovation and technology updation constantly happens inside the labor force or the workforce inside Tata Elxsi through those two initiatives. One is the employee value proposition and the initiative called Innovate. So these are the two channels through which our company promotes innovation and what we call updation of technology. And that mentality among employees to look for what is going to be the future technology, adapt themselves and learn. We always tell our employees, it's not about, your learning has not stopped. You're a continuous learner inside the organization. And in the coming years, you will have to unlearn, relearn and adapt to the emerging technology fronts. So that is continuously being told to them. And the students or the fresh talent that comes out of colleges are varied people. I mean, each person is a different personality altogether. But then finally, after we continuously train them in our campuses, they fall in line and they adapt towards this learning attitude. Gone are the days where people can say that I've completed my masters, I've completed my education, and now I start working. No, it's all a combination of working and learning and unlearning and relearning. So that kind of culture is already there, available, thanks to these two pioneering initiatives by the management.
What future trends in software services do you foresee? And how is Tata Elxsi preparing to address these trends and continue leading the industry?
If we look at the last 5 to 10 years or 5 to 7 years, industry has witnessed a lot of drastic changes in the way technology is evolving. Like any other company in the industry, we too will face the disruption, the so-called disruption caused by these advanced technologies. We talk about artificial intelligence now, which is going to be a major disruption, but as industry experts say, it is a disruption, but certainly it will give us the opportunities to. There are so many industry sectors evolving, and Tata Elxsi would, as a company, adapt to those changing environments. When we speak about traditional coding as a major activity in the industry, with the advent of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and the new techniques that are now coming up, or which is already there, you will find less and less people required for coding. And that will create a situation where people have to learn newer skills. And Tata Elxsi has always been looking for creative avenues for this new learning. There is a very strong learning and development organization inside the company, which continuously trains or gives opportunities for employees to get trained in what is coming up. This is continuously required because in a technology area, in a high engineering area, your knowledge is seamless. It has to be seamless, and it is not limited. It has to be unlimited. It has to explore newer avenues. You might suddenly get a requirement from one of your customers in an area where you have never ventured into.
Okay.
So a continuous learning is very greatly required. And through our learning and development team spread across the country, we have this continuous training happening to all our employees across ranks and levels. Even the senior most people in the leadership also undergo continuous training on what is coming for the future.
How did you scale up the business? What is your learning from it? And what advice you have for entrepreneurs who want to scale?
Across the country, we have actually scaled up our businesses, particularly in the last 5 years. Our businesses have grown in volume. It has shown better results and profitability. We have increased our number of employees too. from what we were about 6,000 people. Today we are 14,000 in a matter of 5 years, in the last 5 years. This is an ample proof of the kind of innovation that's happening inside the organization, the kind of different thinking that's happening inside the organization. Basically, the expansion has happened because we ventured into new areas. And we ventured into new areas in the existing domains too. The thinking which has been more traditional earlier has now become more open and more flexible. And the overall culture inside the organization has also changed over the recent years, where you have a more flexible and open environment towards the leadership. It's become a more vibrant environment inside the organization, open to newer ideas, newer innovations. If you look at the number of patents filed or the number of innovations that have happened inside the organization too, it's very evident. Basically, if the expansion in the number from 6,000 to 14,000 has happened across India, and pro rata it has happened in Trivandrum too. In the last 5 years, we've grown from close to 1,000 to 3,300 here. And we have all the business units spread across the centers. It's not that some of the business units happen only in Trivandrum or in Bangalore. It is almost all the major activities happen across all the centers. And we go and we try to get into the newer areas too. We have a medical devices division which was established in the recent past. We have this design studio in Bangalore, in our head office, which is one of the best in Asia, the biggest and the best design studio in Asia. So our leap into the design area has also been, and we are now considered in the country as one of the best design companies in the technology space. So working in the engineering space, you cannot obviously be growing like a normal typical software companies where you require many people for software coding. It is practically impossible to do that, or it's not required to, because people have to work in niche areas in specific skill sets and a combination of so many skill sets. Being in the R&D space, it has to be focused, very concentrated work that we do to bring out world-class solutions. So that keeps us to a limited number. We cannot be growing leaps and bounds like what the software industry generally does. But within that restricted area, we have been providing good solutions, quality solutions to our clients. An indication why our clientele has always remained and become stable and grown. We have not lost a single client over the last 20 years. If you look at, we have not lost a single client. We have gone with them, and we have been regarded as one of the leaders in the area of automotive and media sectors. There are so many examples of the solutions that we have given to the top OEMs in the automobile industry and to the top broadcasters and cable providers in the media industry. Medical devices is what you call reasonably new when you compare to the other two business units, but that division is also coming up in a very massive manner, and it will be as big as the other divisions too. We also have this gaming and movie division, which is pretty small when you compare the overall operations and the design team. And in the coming years, we would have more and more of these newer teams or newer business units brought into the organization. Something which we might look at is the entry into the aerospace, into the defense sectors, which would be requiring very top-class talent and capabilities. So we might venture into a lot of newer high-tech areas also. What you see in some of these very latest luxury automobiles, or what you see as emerging trends in the automobile industry, we were there already. We have a full-fledged automotive lab in our Trivandrum center, which has created a lot of innovative solutions. So indirectly, what happens is that the employees who work on these top-class solutions in these labs get to understand and feel and work on the latest technology. So that creates a kind of empowerment among them. They are working on some of the best technologies in the world, some of the best machines in the world, and they're creating solutions for the latest that's going to roll out into the market. So that way, we've been able to maintain our leadership in the defined sectors.
Many budding entrepreneurs look up to successful individuals like you. What advice would you give to someone just starting their journey in the world of business?
Fortunately, in Kerala, we have seen over the last 4 or 5 years a surge in entrepreneurship. This is basically due to opening up the ecosystem and creating a kind of support value and support system inside the ecosystem, which will encourage entrepreneurship. But what we see in entrepreneurs today is a major what do you call interest to come and start new enterprises, to explore into the startup arena. The advice that we can always give to these young entrepreneurs is to stay long term in the activity, to not be bogged down by initial failures, and be prepared to cover this long term while you start itself. It is all about grit and perseverance, which will prove that in the long term you will sustain and come out as successful businesses. You need to have an idea which will actually come out with or grow into a solution which the masses will require. There is a saying from an old historian or an old thinker, an ideologist, that an idea can become a material force if it grips the masses. So that's a very golden sentence. An idea can become a material force if it is taken over by the masses. So whatever you produce as a solution should be taken over by the masses. You can only survive if it is supported by a volume. There has to be a definite market. So along with the idea, you need to identify the market. You need to identify the factors which will affect you in the market, and do a thorough homework before you actually plunge into entrepreneurship. We have been contributing towards training some of these startup people, also training engineers inside our organization who have this kind of talent and approach, so that we ourselves can have newer solutions inside our organization which can grow into small new business units. And we used to have a division inside the organization which is specifically meant for employees inside the organization to come up with such novel ideas which can actually spin off into a different division altogether, or a different activity, or a different company itself, which can be nurtured and brought up to those levels. But what advice I would like to give to the budding entrepreneurs here is that we need to know the market, we need to know the competition, we need to know the scope of the solution that we are providing. It has to be taken up by the masses. It has to have some kind of social relevance too. Then it will be automatically be successful. And we should have the grit and perseverance to take it long term. At least we should have a definite plan to be sustainable for the next 2 to 3 years, financially and commercially. So that is what I feel the entrepreneurs should be aware of and be very careful of.
What are the steps taken by Tata Elxsi to bridge the gap between industry and academia?
We've always faced this problem. Industry and academia positioning themselves in different ecosystems. Over the last 4 or 5 years, if you observe, the gap is getting reduced due to a lot of efforts taken by many stakeholders inside the ecosystem. Tata Elxsi also has this role to play. What we started off about 5-6 years back is a program called Activate. It is a 3-semester program run in engineering colleges. It teaches the students on the domain knowledge, or it gives the domain knowledge to the students who are interested in automobiles or transportation industry. Activate runs through the 6th, 7th and 8th semesters in the BTech course. That was how Tata Elxsi started an initiative to engage with the colleges, with the academia, to ensure that the students who have an aptitude towards our kind of work are trained adequately by the time they come out of colleges. So that it is actually a win-win for both students as well as for industry. For the students, it gives an opportunity to engage with the industry, find out whether that domain applies to their aptitudes and their interests, and opt in or opt out. For the industry, it gives the benefit of getting the trained candidate, trained student, who can work on live projects from day one. The possibility of a lot of students coming into the industry and getting trained and then feeling disillusioned is taken care here. The disruption is taken care there. But this is just a small example of how we can intervene. Activate has been running successfully in some of the engineering colleges over the last so many years. And it has given us definite results. It is good for the talent also. It is good for the students also to choose at the fag end of their undergraduate course on where to go, what to study, and whether to be aligned into that kind of businesses. By the time the 3-semester course is over and they are complete and they complete their BTech course, they're pretty sure whether or not to join the particular industry. This is a model which can be replicated by other companies too in the colleges. Certainly, it will create a bit of overload on the students in the last final semesters. But I think recently the university is also adapting and realigning their courses so that their final semesters are more dedicated towards trainings in the industry. Like a full semester internship is now being talked about. Which is already implemented in the Kerala Technical University and other universities in the state. So a lot of emphasis by the academy is also now very visible. The academia also is responding back to the initiatives from the industry so that they align their courses, they align or create this kind of an industry academia cooperation inside the campuses itself. We are now seeing small industrial facilities inside the educational institutions. So this more and more we are coming together. Industry and academia are coming together. Activate is one small model that Tata Elxsi has presented before the ecosystem as something which could be replicated. We also have MOU signed with some of the colleges where there is a mutual exchange. We have the faculty immersion programs happening at our campuses, visits by students in both back and forth visit of our engineers as well as students. We have our senior people going into colleges and delivering lectures for students and giving insights into what is coming in the future, what are the next gen technologies, what they should be focusing on. All these factors, it's a mutual engagement between academia and industry. But it has not reached a stage where we can say it is a full-fledged engagement. We need to work a lot towards establishing a seamless relationship between industry and academia. So Tata Elxsi has always been in the forefront of engaging with academia. If you look at internships, if you look at training of students, if you look at apprenticeship, we have been foremost contributors into engaging with the academia.
Are you doing any CSR activities every year in Trivandrum? If so, to what extent?
Tata Group itself is synonymous with corporate social responsibility. If we understand the group itself and watch it keenly, we can see that a very good percentage, not the 2% mandated by law, but many-fold being contributions back to the society. We strongly believe as a group, as a culture, we strongly believe that we should give back to society a good portion of what we earn in profits, in value, in commercial terms, as well as by volunteering. So being a culture of the organization, Tata Elxsi is committed to serving the society where it operates. Very evident over the last 10 years, we have been very active in the corporate social responsibility in Trivandrum, and particularly the state of Kerala. We normally as a culture don't speak loud about what we do in the society, but some of the examples, since you asked the question, some of the examples of our corporate social responsibility initiatives have been in the area of education, in environment and health. We have engaged with the Sree Institute of Medical Sciences in Trivandrum for long years, contributing by patient subsidy for deserving patients. We support 200 diploma students from the weaker sections of society across the state by scholarship schemes.
Okay.
We impart education to the students in the schools through an NGO. All over the state, we have already completed 5,000 students in that. We do tree plantation as part of environment activities. We've already in one of the campuses in this ESIR campus in Trivandrum, we have planted 3,000 trees last year. We have a volunteering scheme inside the organization where every employee has a 4-day volunteering activity every year he or she is entitled for a 4-day paid leave to do his or her volunteering activity in any sector that he or she feels can be effective. They can do it in their own vicinity, or they can do along with the organization. The organization promotes volunteering in a huge manner. And there are so many employees in our organization who have completed 200 hours of volunteering every year. So volunteering has been part and parcel of our CSR scheme. So apart from the 2% which is mandated by law, we contribute much more than what is than that into the societies, because we firmly believe that the societies have to grow, adapt, and be enriched in the areas where we operate.
Great leaders are not born, but made. And for sure, a structured approach in creating the right competencies and the necessary mind shift matters, not just to be successful, but also sustainable. Thank you, Mr. Sree Kumar, for this very insightful talk. We look forward to catching up with you in future as well. Thank you.
So thank you so much for having me here.
As we close this episode, I would like to express my gratitude to each one of you for joining us on this journey. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for more. This is the Technopark Podcast.